As the night descends upon the land, Vivian wakes up dazed and confused. Groping in the dark, she feels a hard but warm surface, but this is more than just a bedsheet. Soon she comes face to face with a handsome, chiseled man. She screams in fright while blushing as she recognizes the man as Grand Duke Lennox Glen. What's more, he's nude and tied up. Well, that escalated quickly, but did she just abduct the freaking Grand Duke? Vivian first laid eyes on the Grand Duke at the debutante ball when she was 14. The place was jam-packed with hopeful girls, and Vivian was one of them. She was hoping to meet someone nice and start dating. Perhaps royals start dating early? The young ladies gossiped about the powerful and handsome Glen. Upon seeing him, Vivian is starstruck at the then 18-year-old, whom she likened to a diamond. At that moment, she fell in love and became Glen's loyal fan. Vivian falls in love quickly. You can't blame her, anyone would fall for Duke Glen. She's been fangirling him for 7 years, always watching and sketching him from afar. Luckily, she's excellent at drawing, and this is her only way of capturing every moment of her idol and appreciating him in secret. Vivian returns home from stalking her crush. She considers her room her sanctuary, where she can be herself and continue fantasizing about Glen. Her room is filled with everything about him. Picture frames, cushions, body pillows, she has it all. Now Vivian clutches her body pillow, wishing to stay like this and never get married. However, her parents are already arranging marriage proposals for her. No, not that! Vivian wants to avoid getting married. She voices her frustrations at the idea. But suddenly, a purple-haired woman enters her room and chastises her for refusing to marry, despite being at the right age. It's her sorcerer best friend, Marina. The young, naive lady races to Marina's arms and greets her. Marina does not share her enthusiasm, though. She says it's hopeless going after the Grand Duke. At this rate, Vivian will die as an old maid. It's definitely worth it for Vivian, though, admiring Glen from afar, sketching him, writing novels about him, and creating artworks bring joy to her lonely world. Marina has had enough of her ridiculous chatter. What would Vivian do if she lived alone in her old age? The quick-witted fangirl quips that she won't be alone regardless. She has her younger brother, Cassian. Now Marina scoffs at the naive Vivian, reminding her that Cassian has since looked down on her for being an earhead. Come to think of it, she's right. Vivian burst into tears at the thought. Hush now, Vivian. Just think of the Grand Duke and all your tears will be gone. But alas, you'll be alone forever. Marina has to go somewhere, so she leaves her bag with Vivian, asking her to take good care of it and never, ever open it. Marina warns that the items in her bag are dangerous even for her, let alone a clumsy girl like Vivian. Now, why does Marina possess such a dangerous item anyway, and why the hell would she leave it with the said clumsy girl? Well, she's a sorcerer studying at the Imperial Academy, and Marina's staying with the Louise family since her hometown is far away. Now, alone in her room, Vivian continues fangirling by flipping through Glen's album, although she can't resist the urge to check Marina's bag. A quick peek won't hurt anyone, right? That's what Pandora said as well. Curiosity gets the better of her, and she grabs the bag. As she opens it, a strong gust of wind comes forth from within the bag, shredding her precious album of the Duke. Vivian tears up as she cleans up the mess, embarrassed to let the maids take care of it. She notices a black crystal ball on the floor. The wind must have forced it out of the bag. It's a lovely looking ball with a night sky design. So she picks it up, and before she knows it, she falls into a trance. Fortunately, she snaps out of it. Phew, well, that was close. Well, she better put it back inside the bag. However, she trips and drops the crystal ball to the ground, breaking it completely. Like I did not see that coming. Then powerful magic escapes from it and engulfs Vivian as she cries in fear and calls for help. All this led to where we are now, all because of a crystal ball. But the ball shattered, and now Glen Almighty is on her bed. She blames herself for being nosy, which brings her to her current predicament. Lesson learned, Vivian. Don't trip. And don't go nosing about with magic, please. Just scooch away from it. Glen asks her to continue what she started as she finds a way out of this mysterious place. What exactly did she do? She just found herself here. Vivian thought she had summoned him, but even that sounds absurd. In the first place, there's no way she could have been beaten abound a sword master like him. But what's even weirder is that he seems to be enjoying this situation. Ooh la la. Enough about that. Vivian must remind herself that at 21, she's turned herself into a freaking captor. Grrr. She fears the Imperial family's investigators will barge into her room to rescue the Duke sooner or later. When they see Vivian's room full of artworks about Glen, they will surely think of her as a stalker, confirming that she indeed took him. Meanwhile, Glen tells her to come over and not worry about things. Vivian quickly unties him, apologizing for harming his flawless body. The young lady tears up as she sees the rope marks on her idol's wrists, thinking it has been all her fault. However, he just pats her head and assures her that these wounds are nothing. Little Miss Fangirl here is completely baffled by his actions and attitude, and she ends up revealing that she might have snatched him up. Okay, and Glen doesn't really mind. He likes being bound, and if this is Vivian's cup of tea, then, well, he's more than willing. Well, wait, what? What? Naturally, Vivian has no clue why the Duke is so affectionate with her when they never even had a proper conversation. Besides, that is not how a victim should be treating his captor. Unless he's tricking her into lowering her guard so he can escape. Okay, maybe not. Maybe Glen just banged his head somewhere during the abduction and now he's all messed up. She tries to check if he's alright by asking him how many fingers she's holding up and making him state his full name. He gets it both right, but he proceeds to ask her if she wants to mess with him. Glen has heard Vivian wanting to do it from the moment she saw him, making her sputter in embarrassment. And so the Grand Duke of her dreams starts crawling towards her, enticing his #1 fan by placing his lips upon her hand. Vivian can only blush as she looks at his smug face. Now this is actually a dream come true, right? Shouldn't she be happy then? In any case, she's forced to explain how she got there, from accidentally breaking a crystal ball to unintentionally snatching him. But beyond that, she knows that she's from a poor noble family. So she's not so shameless as to think she fits for someone of the Grand Duke's stature. With all that out in the open, Vivian eagerly awaits Glen's response. After what seems to be an eternity, he tells her that he can't simply trust his captor now, can he? Vivian tries to assert her innocence once more. She has devoted her life to being his fan. She never even wanted to marry as her admiration was reserved for him. Everything was going well until she opened Marina's bag, and in an instant, her life changed. Then tears fall from Vivian's eyes, which surprises Glen. He gently comforts her, clutching her in his arms. Vivian gets furious with his indifference to her claims regarding the snatching incident. It seems like he's enjoying teasing her. He reminds her that his knights will be there soon and that she might be imprisoned. Vivian's running out of options. She gets to be with the Grand Duke for a while, but soon she'll face punishment. In her anger, she grabs her hair and pulls it hard, but Glen stops her from ruining her gorgeous hair. He bends on one knee as he holds her hands and offers her a solution. Become his lover. Is this real? Is this another dream? With his sparkling eyes and captivating smile, Glen proposes this idea to the bewildered Vivian. She returns to her senses and weighs her options. Not that she has much. A lover, not a fiancé nor a partner, but a lover. It means he only intends to make her his entertainment, which is pretty insulting to a noble lady. It's like, who does he think he is? Well, for one thing, he is the Grand Duke and is the only high-ranking noble in the Elpidus Empire and powerful enough to be compared with the Emperor himself. On the other hand, she comes from the Earl family. Simply put, they are worlds apart and he will never marry her. There's also news of him marrying a princess from a neighboring country, who would be his official wife. In other words, Vivian would be his plaything until he gets bored. That should keep her safe in the meantime though, at the very least. This is her only option since this is the most straightforward explanation they could give to the people. Vivian could ask her friend Marina to testify for her, but few would trust her since she is from a poor noble family. Not wanting to be taken advantage of, Vivian agrees with Glenn's proposal, but with one condition. She wants to draw up a contract between them. She feels proud of herself for coming up with such an idea. Using this so-called contract, they can set the extent of their physical relationship and part ways without any problem when the time comes. Well played, Vivian, well played. Now Glenn contemplates her counter-proposal, and soon he accuses her of trying to avoid a serious relationship with him. Wait, what? What? Oh, well, the Grand Duke sure moves fast. Anyway, he asks about the duration of the contract. Vivian suggests making it 6 months, which makes him frown. Is it too long? Okay, make it 4. Still no? Alright, 2. The more she haggles, the more he grows disinterested. He turns his back on her, making her wonder if he changed his mind about having a contract. Vivian begins to sulk, unable to understand his thoughts, but the Grand Duke suddenly tells her to make it 1 year. Yup, the Grand Duke wants more of her. Now, less than a year is too short for the Grand Duke's taste. They then make an oath to God as he deems this important. After finishing their oaths, Glenn pats Vivian's head, praising the lady for being obedient. Oh, he's suddenly using honorifics, huh? Now that they are lovers, they must treat each other with respect. What a thoughtful Prince Charming. Glenn overwhelms her with sweetness, calling her my adorable Vivian. Did he just call her adorable? He even used the possessive my. Vivian wonders if Glenn might have inhaled some strange things in her room, deeming it a dangerous place for her idol/lover. Vivian starts to get self-conscious now that they are officially lovers. The amount of pictures she drew of him is embarrassing. So she should definitely get him out of her room as soon as possible. And shouldn't the Grand Duke be returning to attend to his duties? However, he seems to have other plans. Glenn approaches the unsuspecting Vivian and holds her face, pulling her slowly closer to him. In a sensual voice, he says they must finish what they started. Vivian couldn't remember anything though, that's the problem. Glenn hints that Vivian tore his shirt off. He doesn't mind being stripped naked as long as that's what she wants. Vivian's unsure how to react because clearly she's just... it's gone. She doesn't remember stuff. Whatever happened in between, she can't remember. She's about to melt from his sweetness and hotness, but at the same time, she's surprised to know more about Glenn. She knew the Grand Duke never smiled this much or spoke kind words. He had a cold persona, hence his nickname, the Ice Prince. Is he treating her kindly because she is his lover? Or is he genuinely kind? She also speculates that the magic crystal ball may have somehow altered him. And in any case, the Duke seems intent on continuing whatever fun, wink wink, they started. Vivian wants to avoid it though, if possible, so she asks Glenn what he thinks of her room. She expects him to say something unpleasant. Creepy sums up her obsession with a guy she barely knows. Glenn, however, is amused by her admiration. Now that they're at it, he dares Vivian to ask him anything. She tries to concentrate on her question, but is constantly distracted by his, six-pack. Finally, Vivian asks how far will their pretend relationship go. Holding hands? Hugging? Kissing? Glenn cleverly dodges the question and reverts it to her. Vivian has never thought of such lewd things. But maybe hugging? Wait, maybe that's too intimate. Holding hands then. Glenn doesn't seem to agree. A contractual relationship is still a relationship. So shouldn't they do it right? They can hug, kiss, and Glenn gently pushes her down, and with his hand on her face, he's about to kiss her. Vivian didn't sign up for this though, and neither is she ready. She scrambles for something to say to distract the Grand Duke, and just in time, she mentions his arranged marriage. He stops as if he has heard a piece of terrible news. Who might the lucky woman be then, Arranged marriages are common among noble families. Its primary purpose is to unite houses, making them stronger and wealthier. Even lower noble families like Vivian's practice this. Her parents and Marina's parents did, and so will Cassian and her. And so will the Grand Duke. Since he's a great noble, he will marry a lady or princess of similar status. Seeing her pained look, Glenn suddenly hugs Vivian and asks for a kiss. Then they can go a step further and then eventually marry. Oh, wait, what? It's all too much for Vivian to take as she's about to faint. 'Cause excuse me, sir? And all she sees now are his crazy, sparkling eyes like the night sky. Maybe Vivian has to hit the back of his head to make him pass out. But even she's trembling and helpless, unable to take her thoughts into action as Glenn kisses her. She feels increasingly overjoyed as he pushes her onto the floor, just like real lovers. She snaps out of her daze, fearing that someone might see them in that position. Oh no! How scandalous! And pats the man to signal him to stop. Now, Glenn eventually lets her go as she runs out of breath. Now, he'd like to do this all day, but he has to take a breather. He smiles at her antics and kisses the naive woman on the forehead. Then he pauses and wonders when did she start liking him. Though her family has always seen her as an innocent and airheaded lost cause, Vivian now has the chance of a lifetime to be in the hands of her beloved. And while she still needs to figure out how the heck she ended up abducting her beloved Duke, well, that's just a minor detail.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Turn on notifications. And leave a like, it really helps the channel out. Thank you for watching.